The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Phoenix Fire Department, on your new apparatus, job number 32201. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start down at the front bumper area. Underneath the front bumper, you'll find two perimeter lights on the right and left side. Also located on the passenger side, you'll find a drop-down access point for your front inlet. Moving to the face of the bumper, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving to the driver's side, you'll find dual air horns. Moving up onto the top of the bumper, you'll find an access tub location for your front inlet. And moving to the center section, you'll find an additional tubbed storage area for your front bumper load. On the outside of the body, you'll find your turn indicator. As we move just inside of that location, you'll find your headlight cluster for the high and low beam. The high beam is the beam on the inside. Moving up from that location, you'll find two forward-facing emergency lights. And then just underneath the Pierce logo, or directly behind, you'll find the latch for the hood of your vehicle. On the outer edges, you'll find two mirrors. The bottom mirror will be flat and the upper mirror will be convexed. Moving on to your one-piece seamless windshield, you'll find three windshield wipers. As we move to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 running lights. Located directly in the center, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. On the outer edges, you'll find side-facing emergency warning light bars. Located directly over the center, you'll find a forward-facing emergency light bar. Directly in the center of that light bar, you'll find your Opticom. Located just slightly above the light bar, you'll find 2 go lights. These are directional spotlights. On the side bumper, you'll find a warning light. Here's some close-ups of those images that we just talked about. As we look into the tubbed storage area, first you'll find in the center an 1.5 inch swivel discharge. Moving to the passenger side is where you'll find your inlet, drop-down, lift-up. Located underneath the hood, you'll find the raise and lower instructions for your cab. On the right-hand side, the red will be your quarter turn, which will determine whether you raise or lower the cab depending on its setting. The yellow handle with the black push button is the raise and lower mechanism. And then the individual switch is a cab hidden switch to unlock your cab doors. Moving all the way to the right of the image is where you'll find your power steering fluid. This is the fill location for that. Let's move to the passenger side where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Let's go ahead and move now to the pump panel area. First, let's cover some warning labels. At the very top, you'll find this logo regarding a warning label, entanglement hazard. As we move further to the right, you'll find a do not ride on the side of your apparatus. There is a fall hazard. Located directly under the Pierce logo, you'll find this warning label that only trained personnel should operate this equipment and use your assistance of your operational manuals. Down in the lower right corner, you will find a do not mix different foam consistencies. There could possibly be foam failure. Let's move up to the very top into the gray area. This houses your master intake and master discharge. Located in the center, you'll find your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. As we move to the left side of the pump panel, we'll start with this indicator. This is your pump engaged. If lit, your pump is properly engaged. You also have 3 spare switch locations. As we move to the right, you'll find your driver's side flood, passenger side rear floodlight, and also your rear rewind. Let's now move down to the section that covers some of the discharges. First, we'll start in the upper left-hand corner of your pump panel with your real discharge. Moving to the right, you'll find in pink, this is your deluge discharge. As we move further down, you'll find your cross lays for number 1, number 2, and number 3, and these are all 3 foam capable. As we move down, you'll find the
passenger side number 2 and number 4 discharge. And then as we move to the right, you'll find your front discharge, which is also capable of foam. Moving up to the upper right corner, you'll find your driver's side 2.5 and also your passenger side 2.5. These are both pre-connected lines. One of them offers foam. In the upper left, you'll find your primer for the front intake and an indicator here, switch regarding your opened and closed for the front inlet. To the right, you'll find your Hale thermal relief valve. This is an indicator and also a relief valve in case you have a hot pump. Moving down from that location, you'll find your Pierce pressure throttle governor. Located inside that same module, you'll find your water tank indicator. Moving to the right, you'll find your foam A. This is a tank indicator. Moving down from that location, the red module is your Husky 3 foam system. Just beneath that, you'll find your placard manufactured from Pierce. This is your maintenance test schedule. And at the very bottom, once again, we've already covered, this is your warning label regarding that only trained personnel should operate this vehicle. In the upper right, you'll find your primer for the fire pump. There are some priming instructions just beneath that. You'll also find your manual pump shift, pump drain. Moving up slightly from this location, you'll find the water level. This is an indicator sight valve. And as we move to the right, you'll find your tank fill recirculating line, and just beneath that, you'll find your tank to pump. Here's a close-ups of some of those things that we just talked about. Let's move further down the pump panel into the next section. First, we'll start on the left. This is your minimum maintenance schedule. This is for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. As we look to the right, you'll find your air supply control valve, a twist, not a pull, and also the air outlet. To the right, you'll find your primer drain, twist, once again, not a pull, and across the very bottom, you'll find all of your associated discharges. You'll also find the placard regarding your Watrous pump. This is a CSU pump model. It also gives its date of manufacture, capacity, and also the ratio of 2.46. Down in the right corner, you'll find your foam warning. Once again, foam failure hazard and not to mixed brands and types. And then just beneath that, you'll find your foam draft foam tank lever and also the inlet. In the right behind the pan door, you'll find your foam handle. This is where filling or draining, that's the use of the yellow handle. At the very top, you'll find your foam drain. This is a twist, not a pull. Let's move through some of the compartments now. First, starting on the driver's side, this is the first compartment back from the pump panel. You'll find the S1, which stands for shore power. This is your breaker box for that. In this same compartment, you'll find a 12-volt DC block. This is for future access for 12 volt. On the side, you'll find a 2 SCBA bottle storage location. You'll also find your diesel ultra low sulfur fuel fill, which is the silver cap. Up from that, you'll find a 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. That's going to be the blue cap. As we move through some of the compartments, you'll find you have LED lighting inside. Some of your compartments will have shelving and also adjustable shelving. As we look to the rear compartment, you can see there are 3 shelves in this compartment, which are all adjustable. In each of those compartments, you'll find this 12-volt DC block, stands for 12-volt direct current. This is an access point. To the rear of the apparatus, we'll find your brake, turn, and reverse lights. It's a cluster on the left and right. Up from that location, you'll find an emergency warning light. And then further up, we're going to find a combination of emergency and also scene lights, and at the very top, emergency warning lights. We'll move through some of the items here. First, you do have a third brake light indicator located here. Up from that third brake light, you will find your backup or reverse camera. You also have sufficient grab handles for gaining access and going aloft, and also drop-down steps. You do have 2 larger compartments in the very rear. We'll start with those compartments in the next set of images, but I would like to point out some warning labels here. Once again, riding on the apparatus is not advised. There is fall hazards. On the left-hand side, you'll find your rear scene lights and also your hose bed lights. On the left side, you'll find backboard storage and also long tool storage. General view here of the rear section of your apparatus displaying the emergency lights and also side scene lights. On the right-hand side of your apparatus, you will find your ladder storage location for your 24-foot and 14-foot roof. Here's a close-up. There are a few warning labels here I would like you to take note of. As we're in the very center compartment, you'll find an adjustable shelf here and a roll-up door. As we move once again to the side compartment, you'll find that 12-volt DC block location. This is for access once again for 12 volt. As we move around to the passenger side, you will find bottle storage locations and also an additional fill location for your diesel fuel. Let's go ahead and move to the next forward compartment. This is going to be on the passenger side. Behind this roll-up compartment door, you have two adjustable shelves. Let's look at some of the modules in the upper left-hand corner. First, this compartment houses a Shoreline outlet 20 amp. When plugged into shore power, this plug will be activated. Just above that, you'll find your battery charging system. And as we move further up to the very top, you'll find your 12-volt direct current block or modules. And then just beneath that, you're going to find your air compressor. Once again, when plugged into shore power, this will activate. A few more warning labels. First, on this side, this is going to be a warning label regarding for fall and not to ride on the side of the apparatus while it's in motion. There's also an entanglement hazard because of your cross lays and those hoses coming off of the side. There are 3 access points here, pan doors to gain access behind the pump panel. Some of these accesses will give you access behind the pump panel for making adjustments, for example, for your inlet pressure on your relief valve or to gain access to different modules. Located on the left, you'll find your passenger side auxiliary inlet. Moving just slightly to the right and at the lower section, this is going to be your large diameter intake. There are also 3 discharges on this side, all 2.5 inch. They're color coded and also marked. Down in the lower left-hand corner of your pump panel, you'll find a direct tank fill. And as we move just slightly to the right, you'll find once again color coded and labeled all your associated drains. In the same area, you'll find 2 switches, your driver's side floodlight and passenger side floodlight. We'll move inside the cab, specifically targeting this area to your left where the arrow is. This is going to be the location for your daily checks for oil and transmission. This is your access point. As we look from the front facing to the rear, we'll find 2 center-mounted seats, and they are mounted on a raised pedestal, which means you have storage underneath. There are 4 locations for access, 2 in the front and also 2 on the sides. As you look to the side walls of the apparatus for the persons positioned in the rear, you'll find 2 switches. These are the switch for your red dome lights. Looking overhead inside the cab, you'll find your air conditioning units. The white air conditioning will be powered when you're plugged into shore power. The gray will be under normal engine operations. Here are a few images with inside the cab. First, a filter location above the main air conditioning unit. You also have access panels here for your unit radios. A couple images looking from the rear section forward to the passenger side, and then the same looking from the rear to the driver's side. We'll break down some components here in just a few moments. Let's first start in the passenger side. This is the front seat. At all points of entry, you'll find caution and warning labels clustered on the door. You'll also find this warning label regarding your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag. The location is the SRS. This location is where the airbag is located. Just above that, you'll find your glove box. As we move to the center area, you'll find your air horn, electronic siren, and a 12-volt access point. This happens to be a barrel style. To the right-hand side or A-pillar, you'll find controls for a map light and also a switch. On the left in the center, you'll find 12-volt access for USB style, and then you'll also find your vehicle data recorder. As we move overhead in the same position, you'll find on the very far left your speedometer. This is a digital readout for your speedometer. Just to the right of that, you'll find your go light, which is the spotlight on top of your apparatus. You also have a set of switches, starting first with the front flood, cab rear scene, driver's side scene, passenger side scene, and the M9 rear scene. You also have 3 future switch locations if necessary. Let's move just to the right of this set of switches where you'll find your unit radio. This is a CD Sirius XM, Bluetooth, and also weather band radio. As we move to the driver's seat, once again at points of entry, you'll find those warning labels, and you'll also find warning labels regarding the use of seat belts. Your seat belts are red in color for easy visibility. As we look down about the right ankle area, you'll find this placard, manufactured by Pierce for Phoenix Fire Department. This has a significant amount of information regarding the date of manufacture, job number, gross vehicle weight ratings, tire pressures. It also has the VIN number and also all of your fluid capacities for the components and also fluid types. The VIN number is also located on the A-pillar driver's side. Once again, those doors house all of this information regarding all of your warning labels. You also have window controls on the left-hand side. There are 4. And as we move through, you'll find your door latch, and also in the center of that door latch, the locking mechanism. There are also pull straps on the side. These are these red straps at the hinge point for assisting firefighters in and out of the cab for safety. Looking down at the floorboard area, you'll find your foot pedal, which is for your air horn. We'll move up to about left knee height, where we'll find this module. This is the tech module, transmission, engine ABS, display, and diagnostic port. This is also the location of your ABS diagnostic, engine diagnostic switches, and then at the very bottom, your regen inhibit and DPF regen. The large red switch is going to be your master battery switch. Is it a quarter turn to turn on to your right and turn off to your left? On the left-hand side, you'll find your hazard lights, start, and ignition switch. And just inside of near the column, you'll find an emergency master switch, headlights, and also panel switch. The emergency master switch will activate all of your emergency lights on or off. Located in your cluster here, you'll find your transmission, oil, DEF, and water. You'll also find the 2 center gauges for tachometer and speedometer. To the right, you'll find your voltage, fuel, front air, and rear air. Above and below the speedometer, you'll find additional diagnostic information. To the right of the column, you'll find your OK to engage the high idle and its switch. General view here of the center of the apparatus, and we'll cover some of those items here. First, starting with the pull to apply your system parking brake, push to release. To the right, you'll find your mobile awareness module, and just beneath that, you'll find your Pierce command zone. A tremendous amount of information can be at your fingertips through use of this. To the right, you'll find your Allison transmission pad. It is digital. And then to the right, you'll find your Thelma indicator for your lights. All the way to the right, you'll find your mirror heat. And as we move up in this same vicinity, you'll find your pump shift. At the very top, you'll find your go light. Just below that, you'll find your pump shift. To activate this, follow the instructions from road to pump or from pump to road, and also you should use your owner's manual for guidance. There are 2 indicators here, pump engaged and OK to pump. Those should both be green prior to exiting the cab for pump operations. At the very top, just above the go light, is where you'll find your mirror control for your flat and convex mirror. Located in the center, you'll find your climate control. And as we look overhead of the operator, I'd like to direct you to the left-hand side, this placard. This is going to be the height of your vehicle, 10 feet 4 inches, the length 32 feet 4.75 inches. You have a gross vehicle weight rating of 44,800 pounds. If you make any changes to your vehicle's height, length, or gross vehicle weight rating, please update this placard. To the right of that, you'll find this module, which houses your emergency master, load manager, and your electronic siren. Further to the right, you'll find your front flood, cab rear scene, driver's side scene, passenger side scene, and the M9 rear scene. You'll also find 3 future switch locations if necessary. Let's move to the right once again over the driver's area. You'll find your Whelen control. This is for your electronic siren and also your PA system. To the right, you also have 2 covers. These are for future installments for additional modules. We're now back up to the very top of the apparatus. This is the hose bed area, where you'll find closed compartments that house LED lighting. We'll take a look at the dunnage area now. This is where you'll find your water fill location for top fill and also your foam fill for foam tank A. Located on the booster line, you will find a tensioning spring, and at the very top you'll find if you have a power failure or necessary for manual rewind, this is the location for the tool installment. To the right you'll find your Husky foam system. This is the hydraulic pump. The indicator there was pointing for your foam hydraulic oil reservoir. That's the black cap. Just a top look of your apparatus, you will find 2 warning labels here that you should not walk on the sides. It is slippery. And you'll also find located in the center, this is that when plugged into shore power AC unit. Moving forward to that location, you'll find your 2 GO lights. These are the spotlights controlled from within inside the cab. Congratulations, Phoenix Fire Department, on your new fire apparatus, job number 32201. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or any future questions about your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Congratulations.